While a lot of the attention with the Notre Dame offensive line went, understandably so, to left guard Quentin Nelson, there's another member of that offensive line, left tackle Mike McGlinchey, who looks to be a first-round pick as well in this 2018 NFL Draft. Playing a little bit in the shadow of Quentin Nelson, but you could also say that it goes both ways. Whereas Quentin Nelson playing next to McGlinchey helps Mike, you could also say that Nelson benefits from playing next to a pretty solid college left tackle, so that helps him out too. And I think both of them are true. It's one of those kind of symbiotic relationships where they both can kind of be beneficial to each other. But more likely than not, they're not going to be playing next to each other anymore once they get to the NFL. So now you have to start grading them solo, and you look at Mike McGlinchey and you say, is he, as is kind of thought of at this point, the number one left tackle in this draft class? Is he really that level of talent, or is it more just based off of need and what's available as opposed to true talent? I mean, he's got really good size for the position. Talk about 6'7", 315 pounds. Great height, great length, a good amount of weight on his frame. Won't need to get much bigger or much stronger at the NFL level. You maybe add a few pounds, and that's all you really need to do. He comes in with NFL size day one, an NFL frame day one. He's got decent strength. He shows pretty good power as a run blocker, especially when he's on the move. He can show you some decent lower body strength in terms of anchoring against bull rushes. He's not an overpowering guy, but he is strong enough. I feel like he could physically hang and hold out outside without getting a ton of help. He's a really good run blocker. He consistently gets first contact and is able to control the defender. He's a decent drive blocker, decent seal blocker. Like I said, again, not overwhelmingly powerful, not overwhelmingly going to win with straight kick-assing ability, but he can do that at least some of the time. Plays with decent pad level and a nice wide base. I like that about him. He can get really high, though, in pass protection. That's something that concerns me. I do feel like if he got a little bit better with his hands, that it would help him in terms of keeping his pads lower, because he would have to be more aggressive. He would have to reach out a little bit more. He can get a little bit off of his center of gravity. And especially because when he does flash it, he shows violent, strong hands. He's late, though, getting his hands up. He gets them a little wide sometimes in pass protection, which is always a concern to me, because while you feel like you're controlling more of that defender's upper body, it can really lend itself to getting holding penalties, and you could be left reaching and be off balance. You'd like to see those hands a little bit closer together than what McGlinchey has. Pretty good feel and instincts, awareness for the position. Showed me some feel to be able to pick up late blitzers. He did struggle previously with false start penalties, but he got a lot better in 2017, so that's good. Adequate motor, not as scrappy as some of the offensive linemen in this class. I would like him, frankly, to sit there and work on finishing his blocks a little bit more. Sometimes he'll engage, and then he just kind of holds on. I'd like to see him be able to finish. He's got enough size, enough length, and enough strength where he could do a better job of finishing off his blocks. He's a reliable guy, though. Plays all the time. Two-time team captain in 2016 and 2017. He's got bloodlines. I think his cousin's Matt Ryan. Known as a team leader and a hard worker. Although you wonder, with him, he's going to be 24 years old as a rookie. If that's a concern for a guy like Calvin Ridley, you would think maybe it would be a little bit of concern for teams picking in the top 15 or 20, taking a McGlinchey, because he's already 24 years of age. When I look at him, though, what really concerns me is I felt like he was only average as a pass blocker and specifically as a blindside protector. He can get too easily out of his slide step against speed rushers. He doesn't stick with his footwork nearly enough, and that in large part is due to just marginal to mediocre, really lateral agility and lateral foot quickness and movement skills. He's not somebody you're going to want to deploy a lot in terms of getting him out on the move. He's really average being able to get out and actually lead block. He's kind of average in terms of getting to the second level and getting there on time. That lack of athleticism concerns me a little bit. It makes me wonder long term if his best NFL position isn't truly right tackle. I think McGlinchey can play on the blind side. I do. He's got size, he's got length, he's got strength. He does some fundamental things well. He's going to need to improve some of those other fundamental things, though. His pad level, how he strikes with his hands, the consistency with which he strikes with his hands, because he might never be a great athlete in terms of lateral agility. If he gets better there, then these other things don't matter quite as much. But he's going to have to be a guy that's going to have to be top-notch in his technique to be somebody that you could trust to protect your quarterback's blind side on an island at left tackle. Otherwise, you're looking at potentially he'll have games where he gets beat quite a bit. It becomes an issue, and then you have to shift your protections. You have to throw a tight end over there. You might have to have a running back come over and chip block, and then that decreases the number of people you can send out on routes. In the NFL now more than ever, you want left tackles that can be able to block on an island, and I'm not sure if McGlinchey is that type of guy. I still fully expect him to be taken in the first round, and I fully expect him to be taken in the top 15 to 20 picks. I absolutely do, because he feels like a pretty safe player. But I wonder if he's not similar to like Jack Conklin coming out of Michigan State a couple of years ago. Now, granted, Jack Conklin went 8th overall, and hell, the Titans traded up to get him. They traded up to get a right tackle, all crazy. But Conklin at right tackle has been really good to pretty good during his short NFL career. To me, I look at it and I see McGlinchey, and I'm like, he could maybe stick here. He could maybe develop into a solid guy here. But I don't know if he's ever going to be that type of dude. And I most certainly don't envision him as a franchise left tackle type of guy. Is he maybe a guy that you're better off throwing over on the right side right away and say, nah, you know what? We won't worry about the left side. We won't try to throw you against all the best speed rushers or most of the best speed rushers. You're going to play over here at right tackle where your size, your length, your strength can play better, and we won't have to shift our protections as much to help you. I feel like that maybe should be McGlinchey's path. Like, especially, let's say, if the Green Bay Packers had interest in him at pick 14. You already have David Bakhtiari on the left side. McGlinchey's not better than Bakhtiari, but McGlinchey could be a better long-term replacement than Bulaga, who's the right tackle who never plays because he's always hurt. That's kind of what I see. I look at McGlinchey, and to me, he reminds me a lot of Jack Conklin. I had similar grades coming out of both of them in college. I like McGlinchey a little bit more than I did Jack Conklin. I feel like McGlinchey has a little bit more in terms of pure left tackle skills. But I do look at him and I say, this is a guy that maybe is best suited to play right tackle at the NFL. And if he does, he could be a really, really good one. He has the upside where if he gets really good and patches up those deficiencies in his technique, he could hang on the left side. I'm just not sure that that's the best utilization for him, or that will be getting the most out of him in the NFL.